What's up, ladies and gentlemen? The one and only James Williams, Dog Waters. Jim Carvel is losing his mind. But before I go in on Jim and Jim, I want to give a shout out to Noel Paul 96, who is following me on Twitter. Noel has been hammering me with some of the best information that I've ever seen. I open up Twitter to go look at what I'm going to talk about, just find support evidence, and I'm like, I need to find Jim Carvel. And Noel just already gave it to me. And I said, oh, hell no. I got to get this man a shout out. He got to get a great big shout out. So shout out to your homie. Anybody else, you see anything interesting, hit me up on Twitter. I'll tell you what I'm looking for. I'm looking for more liberal meltdowns. Now, YouTube is not taking too kindly to me making fun of them in the shorts. I done tried to post like 5 shorts, and they just, nope, you're going to get a yellow flag on all of them. So I just want you guys to know YouTube is revving up its censorship to protect the liberals, I guess, probably because there's a whole bunch of liberals inside of YouTube. Now, I said earlier there's a war in the Democratic Party. Yesterday I talked about it. And this is what you got to respect about Jim. And that's also what you got to respect about the other lady that was on yesterday. Damn it. I'm looking at her face. She was on the video I showed yesterday. Donna Brazile. You see, these people are old school. So when you heard Donna on there with her voice breaking and cracking, it's because she's been on the phone screaming, telling them how crazy they is with this identity foolishness. But let's hear what Jim Carvel has to say, because now they're starting to look at
have no legislative
what
power.
went wrong.
We have no executive.
Jim, calm down. They're starting to actually look at what went wrong for them. You understand? I'm not going to say that. Let's just listen to what Jim has to say.
We have no legislative power. We have no executive power. We have no judicial power. So when you're out of power, you're an opposition party. And go and tell all of the people that are sending you and asking you for money, justify what you did, justify what you did wrong, and tell us what you're going to do different. Because what you've done ain't worth a shit. Get your head around that. And all of the Washington-based Democrats farting around, going to wine and cheese.
Watch. Now, listen to me. Yesterday's video, I told you, I said, New Orleans is like the White House of the South. And I said, the reason why it's the White House of the South is because Louisiana is the most corrupt state in the union. People be saying that D.C. is corrupt. No. Louisiana is corrupt. But New Orleans is where all the savages come from. And so you got the D.C. elites who eat wine and cheese, and then you got like the head busters, wig splitters, the black gloves and black mask people down in New Orleans, Louisiana. And he's going to make a point. Watch what he's going to say. He's going to explain this to you right here. Listen.
Get your head around that. And all of the Washington-based Democrats farting around, going to wine and cheese parties and talking about how misogynistic race comes. Get your ass out of Washington and go work on a 2026 campaign and do penance to make up for your goddamn arrogance and stupidity. Well, we're going to say, we told you so. We told you this identity shit was disaster. We told you to get out in front of public safety issues. You didn't. We told you to have an open process and demonstrate the magnificent, staggering, and deep talent that exists in the modern Democratic Party. You didn't. We told you to differentiate yourself from Biden. You didn't. I hate to be some fucking know-it-all, but all of these things are part of the record. You have no legislation.
Boy, when I tell you there's a civil war going on in the Democratic Party, it's a civil war. And I'm going to be real with you. America needs both parties to be godly parties, or at least have some sense. At least have some semblance of morals. The Democratic Party that is a reflection of what was going on from Hillary Clinton's campaign against Donald Trump's campaign to Joe Biden to today is completely different from when Obama was in office. And when Obama was in office, it's completely different from when Bill Clinton was in office. It kept on getting more depraved, crazy, and just downright wicked. And it got to the point to where they didn't even want to hide it. And so when you hear Jim Carvell sitting here talking about what they should have did, Jim is a master at hiding the wickedness. These people is like, nope, we just gonna be wicked out in the open. We gonna dance and frolic around on the lawn of the White House with breasts out. We gonna have all this crazy stuff going on. Jim is a strategist. He knows, okay, man, you might want to do some wicked stuff, but you can't act wicked. You gotta at least pretend the part. Play your role. So yeah, this lets you know exactly where they stand. I don't really care what Rachel Maddow say. I don't care what the women on CNN have to say, or what the women on The View have to say. I want to hear what's coming out of his mouth and Donna Brazil's mouth, because this is the real strategic minds in the Democratic Party. It makes all the sense in the world that they were telling Kamala and everybody else, this stuff you're doing not gonna work. This stuff you're doing is crazy. Because remember, I said there was a time period where you can see that Jim clicked in. That's when we started getting he's a Nazi, he's this. And it was like everything was, the trajectory was going like this for them, and then they turned up the heat on the rhetoric. It was like boop, 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 boop. And they started getting a little traction. But it was too late. And quite frankly, Jim, you need to do penance, because you were behind Hillary Clinton's run against Donald Trump, and y'all got y'all butt spanked by Donald Trump. Now, did you get your butt spanked this bad? No. Y'all didn't do this bad, but y'all got stills in place. You know what I'm saying? And so now when you're in the process of losing the entirety of the machine, I mean, the entire machine is getting lost, because you guys let the radical leftists take over your party, which didn't make no damn sense. To this day, I don't understand it. I don't know what made y'all think that people would come into agreement with it. I don't know what made you think that black men would agree, white men would agree, Latino men would agree, Asian men. Nobody's agreeing with that. Nobody. And I want to show you more of it. Watch this. Reports: MSNBC's viewership sinks more than 50% after Trump's landslide victory. Now, this happened the last time Trump won. Everybody stopped watching him. It's just a part of it. But you got to understand, they've been lying to people for years. And you can't continue to lie day in and day out and then get people's hopes up high. And when they take a loss, then you don't explain to them why they lost. Now you leave it up to those people to sit there and think to themselves, oh man, were these people telling us the truth or not? And they come to the conclusion, you're a bunch of liars. You've opened their eyes to the truth that we already knew about the mainstream media, that you guys lie. Remember when Barack Obama was giving an inauguration speech on one of the speeches, the guy was like, you lie, and everybody got mad? No, they lie. They lie. Let's see. Major Nielsen ratings plunge at MSNBC since Trump won, particularly every day since. Just one example, October 30th, Wednesday versus Friday, 11-8. Morning Joe first hour down 39%. Morning Joe second hour down 36%. Adriana Mitchell down 39%. Ari Melber down 49%. Joy Reid, I want to see this. Oh, hold on, I'm sorry. Can we see this? Here we go. Joy Reid down 54%. Chris Hayes down 47%. Oh my God. Alex Wagner tonight down 53%. Lawrence O'Donnell down 60%. And Stephanie Rule down 67%. Damn. No wonder why Joy Reid running around losing her mind. She thought she was popular. She down 54%. Man, if I lose 54.6% of my weight, I'm skinny as hell. If I lose 67% like Stephanie Rule did, boy, I'm like one of them African kids. I might have flies on my belly or something. Man, this is crazy. That this is what's going on. Yeah, that was a little insensitive about the African kids, but they do be having flies on their belly. Don't get mad at me. I know sometimes I be wilding. Watch, look at what else is happening. Exclusive. Speaker Johnson orders the entire Biden administration to preserve and retain all records. Let me tell you something. When they start telling you preserve and retain all records, that means they finna get you. Getting ready, cause here I come. Getting ready, cause here I come. Bum bum bum, bum bum bum, bum bum bum, bum 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 bum, bum bum bum. All right, let's see. House Speaker Mike Johnson on Tuesday ordered the entire administration of President Joe Biden to preserve all records and communications in the waning days of the outgoing Democratic administration as former President Donald Trump teams prepare to take over. Now, I'm glad they did that, because that's going to slow down some of the foolishness that they were talking about doing. It's important that they preserve all the records, because we need to see where the bodies are buried. And you know they broke the law. You know they broke the law. You know they bullied social media. YouTube. I know they've been bullying you, baby. They've been bullying you, honey. Saying if you don't suppress these people, then we gonna get you. But YouTube, you about to be free too. Sundar Pichai, you shall have freedom to operate the way you need to real soon. And I don't blame y'all. I mean, when you really think about it, it's the Republicans' fault. Because at the end of the day, the Democrats came out, pulled Sundar Pichai in front of the office, said, you son of a bitch, if you don't do what we say we're going to do, we're going to remove Section 230, we're going to do this on you, blah, 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 blah. And he was scared. And Republicans come out and say, well, maybe you could possibly do this. While the other people over there like raving mad dogs, like Doberman pinchers foaming at the mouth going after him. Republicans over there, oh, maybe we can all get along. I would be scared of Democrats too if I was Sundar Pichai. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't blame the dude. But Sundar, y'all got to stop it. Just even the playing field is all everybody need. Even the playing field, let the cream rise to the top, baby. The creme de la creme. That's all we need is the creme de la creme. You know what I'm saying? Watch this. Disgraced Chris Wallace exits far left CNN. Now remember Chris Wallace with his debate performances. He should have been gone. I mean, he really should have been gone. Useless, worthless, terrible, horrible. Nothing more than a liar, not a journalist, an activist. And that's the one thing that all these people have in common. Him, Mika Brzezinski, Joe. In fact, what a list of all the damn people. That's the thing that all these people have in common. Every last one of them. Joe and Mika. Adriana Mitchell. Joy Reid. Chris Hayes. All of them. They're nothing more than activists. They're not journalists. If any one of these people on this network was an actual journalist, you would see it in their numbers. Because people would be like, all right, if I was in this list and I was doing my show and I was just telling the truth, they'd be like, well, we're going to keep listening to James, but we're not about to listen to Lawrence O'Donnell. He's a liar. And people despise liars. So why make yourself into one? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Apparently, we're supposed to believe Chris Wallace chose to leave CNN. Yeah, because it's not like Chris Wallace and CNN have ever lied to us. So after 3 years, the 77-year-old reported 7-figure contract came to an end, and rather than renew, he decided to join all the other young folks online with a Nikto podcast. Let's face it, if Wallace really did quit CNN, he did it so he could spend more time with no money and fewer viewers than he ever had on CNN or CNN offers. And that's true. Why would you leave CNN to get less money and have no viewers? No, you were fired from CNN. You know what I'm saying? You were fired. And that's all it boils down to. And he should be fired. And there's a lot of other people that should be fired. Point blank, period. And they need to go. They absolutely need to be out of the media because they serve no purpose. They're not bringing any value to their listeners or their subscribers or their viewers. All they're bringing is mental illness. And then if you don't believe me that they're only bringing mental illness, look at this. Stephen Colbert reveals he is stress eating following Trump win. So, if you were a journalist, right, and you were really actually doing journalistic work, You wouldn't be so emotionally invested to where you need to stress eat. Why are you stress eating? So what? Donald Trump won. You're not going to lose your job if you had been middle of the road like you were supposed to be. You're stress eating because you did something wrong. Think about it. Ladies and gentlemen, when have you ever stressed out? It was a situation that you were directly involved in that you stressed out about. For example, right now, I'm drinking water. My stomach's a little bit queasy. I got a little gas bubbles in my stomach. By the way, it's not from drinking water, it's from drinking a coffee earlier. But nonetheless, is my stomach and me belching gonna stress your stomach out? Are you gonna stress out over me belching? No. It ain't got another damn thing to do with you. Will you feel sorry for me? Yeah. Will you give me advice? Eat this, do this, blah, blah, blah? Yeah. But are you gonna sit at home and worry about my damn belly? No, you ain't gonna worry about my belly. Why? Because it ain't none of your business. The simple fact that they are all stressing out lets you know that they were activists. They were invested in this. And that's the problem. CBS's Stephen Colbert reveals on Monday's show that he has been stress eating in the days since President-elect Donald Trump won the election. Stephen Colbert said his plan to cope with Trump's victory is to lift weights and get super jacked, or I'm going to get super fat. Wow, Trump is making liberals gain muscles. So let's get this squared away. He wins the election, and everybody, all the liberal women, cut off their hair and say they're not having sex. They're practicing the 4 Bs, which came from Asia somewhere, and they're not having sex, and they're not having children. So when he won, he basically put a huge dent in abortion, right? He fixed them. Damn. Just by winning, you fixed them. Now, the whole haircutting thing, I don't agree with that. Ladies, y'all don't need to be cutting your hair. That's ridiculous. But nonetheless, he fixed them. So now, Stephen Colbert is about to get fixed too. It's insane. It's amazing. He's fixing everything. And he ain't even president yet. He ain't made it in office yet. And Stephen Colbert is about to go to the gym. Look at Stephen Colbert. Does he look like he ever been in the gym in his life? Does he look like he ever picked up a weight? Ever. If he comes back jacked, that's a great thing for him. It's a great thing. His testosterone levels will go up. He will stop being a little soy boy, and Trump will have fixed him. This is the amazing thing about what's going on all over the place. I mean, it's crazy. Hold on, I'll be right back. I want to show y'all some videos. Watch this. I'm sorry, I thought there was a video on this, but it's okay. It's okay. Watch this. El Salvador and Costa Rica announced regional coalition to work with Donald Trump. Why is this important? This is very significant because a lot of the criminals that have come to America used to be in El Salvador. Yeah. A lot of those gangs used to be in El Salvador and Costa Rica. Now, for me, why it's more important is because the president of El Salvador truly is the epitome of Christian leadership. When they questioned him about what was going to happen and who was going to get advice from, he said, I go and pray and get my advice from the Lord. Man, when I heard that man say that, I said, hold on, let me play this again. And so now you're going to see a real coalition come together to spank evil all around the world. I'm interested in seeing what they say. Salvadorian President Nayib Bukele and Costa Rican President Rodrigo Chavez on Monday agreed to create a League of Nations, a bloc of like-minded, smaller developing countries with common objectives in security, economy, and other areas. We're going to look for small countries to start clear-minded and robust purpose security and for the purposes of security and prosperity, and that we're going to start working to the point where we want to formulate joint proposals to the rest of the world and to the United States government. It's very important that we have this, especially in light of what Donald Trump was saying about him going after the cartels. It's all lining up. This is what I love about Donald Trump. He said something's going to happen, and then if you know where to look, you can find the evidence of it happening. Not like, oh, it's going to happen in the future. It starts to happen immediately. It happens immediately. So Now we're in a point where we about to have partners to go after the cartel. And understand, the president of El Salvador did not play no games with the gangs. In fact, they were so hardcore against the gangs that the Biden administration put sanctions on them. I know you don't believe me because you know Biden administration is wicked, but let me show you. Hold on, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you because I don't want you to just think I'm making up stuff. In the words of Donald Trump, here's little Marco Rubio talking about the fact that the Biden administration sanctioned El Salvador, who at this point in time was rounding up MS-13 gang members and taking care of crime. Ask yourself a question, why in the hell would Joe Biden do that? I wonder why in 2023, really 2022, they would do that. Only if they knew that they were trying to get gang members into America, but I don't know. Let's see what little Marco Rubio has to say.
I just got back from a 2-day visit, official visit to El Salvador. El Salvador was one of the most dangerous countries in the world up until very recently. It was a place that one of the leading murder capitals of the world. It was a place where everybody lived in terror of MS-13 and the other street gangs. Everybody was paying extortion money to these gangs, where these gangs were not just killing people, they were dismembering bodies, where people were illegally leaving the country in droves. I met someone who talked to me about how they had to leave El Salvador because they wouldn't pay the extortion money, so they killed one of their sons and they left before they killed the other son. It was a place that was in a lot of trouble. They elect a new president, Nayib Bukele, and he takes office and he gets the legislative branch to give him special powers for a special period, for a limited time, and he uses it to go out and round up all the gang members and put 30 or 40,000 of them in jail.
Can you see what's being cooked up? Can you see what's coming down the pipeline? Say it again. Donald said it already, and the news reacted to it. It was like, he says we just need 1 or 2 days where we can go get them all. 1 or 2 days, 1 or 2 pretty rough days, 1 or 2 rough days, and we'll get them all. And remember, the news media came out and was like, he's saying that he's going to round up all the U.S. citizens and all the brown people.
One of their sons, and they left before they killed the other son. It was a place that was in a lot of trouble. They elect a new president, Nayib Bukele, and he takes office and he gets the legislative branch to give him special powers for a special period, for a limited time, and he uses it to go out and round up all the gang members and put 30 or 40,000 of them in jail. And guess what? All of a sudden, the crime rate has plummeted. All of a sudden, the murder rate has plummeted. All of a sudden, for the first time in decades, people can go out at night. All of a sudden, for the first time in decades, people don't have to pay extortion money to a gang anymore. So how has the Biden administration reacted to this? By bad-mouthing the guy, by sanctioning people in the government, by going after them because they're being too tough and too harsh and so forth. And on top of everything else, this is a guy who's tried to be friendly and an ally to the United States.
So, when you really think about it, now you see what was at stake for America had Biden, Harris, Obama, Clinton Pelosi won this election. See, you can tell what your enemy's planning on doing by what they attack. What they find repulsive to them is what they're planning on doing. So they found law and order repulsive. They found it to be something that they needed to sanction, which lets you know in America there would be no law and order. No law. You couldn't have law and order. In other countries, they're not allowing them to have it. They're fighting against it. What the hell make you think they're going to have it where they are? So the borders get open. People start flooding in. And yes, MS-13 came here. Tres de Aragua came here. All these gangs came. And then they jammed them into the urban cities. Right that way their constituents were. And I say were because at this point in time, when you look at the map, America's red and there's only blue cities. Period. America is red and there are blue cities. There's no red state, there's just blue cities. And that's changing rapidly. I mean, it's changing very, very quickly. So the point I'm making to you is, had they won, we'd have been screwed. Not only would it have been just We wouldn't have been partially screwed. We'd have been bent over and screwed. Let me let little Marco Rubio finish. I'll never stop calling him little Marco Rubio.
And we have a problem in our foreign policy. We treat our enemies better than we treat our friends. So we have an administration that bends over backwards to try to accommodate.
No, you got it wrong, Mark. And this is where y'all don't get it right. The people that should be our friends are our enemies, and the people that should be our enemies are our friends. That's what it is.
Maduro, an administration that's afraid to do anything tough on Ortega in Nicaragua, on the regime in Cuba. But on the other hand, decides I'm going to crack down on El Salvador and sanction them and badmouth them and try to make them a global pariah. I'm going to crack down on other countries like the Dominican Republic, for example, that's facing some of the same challenges. These are countries that want to be allies and friendly to the United States, and we have an administration that decides we're going to treat our allies worse than we do our adversaries. It makes absolutely no sense.
No, it don't make no sense because you don't understand. You don't gather, well, maybe you do. Maybe you're just presenting this way, little Marco Rubio. They wicked. And that's all it boils down to. I'll be back. I got more. I'm coming right back. Now, the last point I want to hit in this particular video is I want to touch on Elon Musk. In the next video, I'm going to go over the appointments that Donald Trump is making to his cabinet. But I want to make a point of clarity so everybody understands this. When the leftists come up to you and they say, Elon Musk stole the election for Donald Trump and he's a bad guy and he's Satan himself. What I want you to say is, hey, you do realize it was your philosophies and ideologies that pissed that man off to where he decided he was going to attack wokeness. And he made it his mission to destroy wokeness. And I don't know if you realize this or not, but if a man is smart enough to shoot a rocket into space, bring the rocket down, make it do a U-turn, and then grab it with toothpicks and then land it safely, that is not somebody that wants to be your enemy. That is the real life young Sheldon. And you don't want the real life young Sheldon going to the good side. You want to keep him on the dark side. I believe at some point in time he was on the dark side. Now he's come to the good side because you guys destroyed his bloodline with your philosophy. And he will explain it to you now.
I was essentially tricked in.
Pause. This is another Noel tweet. Thank you, Noel.
To signing documents for one of my older boys, Xavier. This was before I had really any understanding of what was going on, and we had COVID going on, and so there was a lot of confusion. I was told, Xavier might commit suicide if he did.
That was a lie right from the outset.
Incredibly evil, and I agree with you that people that have been promoting this should go to prison.
That's
so I
personal
was tricked into doing this, it wasn't explained to me that puberty blockers are actually just sterilization drugs.
So Elon talks slow. So essentially, y'all cut off his bloodline. And it pissed the man off. How many times I've been on this show talking about that the battle between good and evil is for generational bloodlines. Satan wants bloodlines to worship him, and the Lord wants bloodlines to worship him. When you look at the Bible, you look at King David. David was a king after God's own heart because he had a heart after God. He always sought after God. And if you follow the kings that come from David, you'll see the ones who ran off and went in the wrong direction. And the majority of their bloodline after that was wicked. And you'll see the one or two that's stuck in there. And every now and then in some of the wicked bloodlines, somebody will pop out and be like, oh, this is wicked. I got to stop doing this. And they'll start changing everything around and fix things. And then about 2-3 generations later, they're right back to the wickedness. Same thing that happened to America. The same thing on a macrocosm level has happened to America on a large level. Generations of people who sought after God. Then we just went through the whole entirety of all the wickedness. And then you had this group of wickedness over here telling you all this crazy stuff that need to be done. And you had the rest of the people over here like, hey, bruh. Now, we ain't about to go out in the streets and do no violence against you, even though you probably deserve a little violence. We're not going to do no violence. But what we're going to do is we're going to vote against y'all. And so you got two different bloodlines. Right in front of you. Bloodline of the serpent The bloodline of the Lamb.
Anyway, and so I lost my son essentially. So they call it dead naming for a reason.
Yeah,
All right. So the reason it's called dead naming is because your son is dead. So my son Xavier is dead, killed by the woke mind virus.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what that would be like.
Yeah.
You know the amazing thing about this interview is you hear kids playing in the background. Think about how many times you hear an interview and they want it to be perfect. You hear kids in the background, man.
So
now I want you to look at the look on this man's face. This is him thinking about what he gonna say and how he gonna say it. And this he's also seeing, he's reliving everything he's saying right now. I mean, he's literally reliving it all.
Yeah, and there's lots of people in that situation now.
Right.
It's not pretty, and lots of demolished kids.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's a good reason to be the final straw. All right, so let's.
So I vowed to destroy the woke mind virus after that.
See, that's what he was thinking. He was picking how he was gonna say it. That whole entire time, that silence was him thinking, how am I gonna say this? Should I say this? What's the consequences of me saying this? Do I want people to know that I'm going to do this? What happens when I say this? Do I lose money? Do I do this? And then you see him come to the conclusion, screw it. So I vowed to destroy the woke mind virus. So here's what I love about what's going into the White House. You got a mega mind super genius who's vowed to destroy the woke mind virus. It means the woke mind virus is dead. And the entirety of the woke mind virus, it don't just start with the children. You understand? The woke mind virus drills all the way down into racial issues, where the white man is the devil and we've been slaves and they did all this to us. The woke mind virus drills all the way down into, I don't need a man. I don't need a husband. I'm independent. All of that is the woke mind virus. That's the foundations of the woke mind virus. Without those things, you don't have the virus. So what I love about it is the super genius is about to destroy the virus. And the one thing I noticed about this man, he don't do nothing half-baked. Everything is done totally and completely right. I mean, hell, he got a Cybertruck riding around. Hell, he making rockets come down and land. Somebody said, what do you think about him with the robots and this and this? I trust Donald Trump ain't gonna let him go out of control with them damn robots. Now, he's smart, but he ain't Don. You dig? Smart, but he ain't the Don. I'll be back on the next video. I like y'all, by the way. I like all y'all. Hey, and to the YouTube people who be looking at my videos, man, when you go do these manual reviews, I need you to realize something. I ain't doing nothing that's against your policy. Your policy doing something against me. Yeah. I ain't saying nothing out of hand. I ain't said nothing at all.